Introduction: The Darling Children and the Secret Visitor. In a quiet corner of London lived the Darling family, the kind Mrs. Darling, the fussy Mr. Darling, and their 3 imaginative children, Wendy, John, and Michael. They lived in a beautiful house, but the most magical place was the nursery, which held a great secret. Every night, while the children slept, a mysterious boy named Peter Pan would sneak in. Peter was the boy who never grew up. He came to listen to Mrs. Darling's lovely stories about him, unaware that one night he would lose something very important: his shadow. Mrs. Darling, a believer in magic, carefully folded the shadow and kept it safe. Chapter 1: The Return and the Seamstress. One evening, Wendy was half asleep when she saw a brilliant spark of light. Tinker Bell, Peter Pan's jealous fairy. Following her was Peter Pan himself, frantically searching for his shadow. When he found it, he tried desperately to stick it back on with a bar of soap, but it wouldn't work, and he began to cry. Wendy, awakened by his sobs, immediately stepped in to help. "How absurd," she said. "You must sew it on." With a needle and thread, she carefully stitched the shadow back onto his heels. Peter, forgetting her help instantly, flew around the room shouting, "Oh, the cleverness of me!" Wendy, intrigued by this strange, confident boy, asked him why he came to their window. Peter explained that he lived in Neverland with the lost boys, who had all fallen out of their prams and were never found. He told her that he and the lost boys had no one to tuck them in, and worst of all, no one to tell them stories. Chapter 2: The Invitation to Neverland. Peter, realizing Wendy's immense talent for storytelling and mending, made her a daring proposition. "Come to Neverland and be our mother." Wendy's eyes sparkled. It was a terrifying yet glorious invitation. "But how will we get there?" she asked, looking at her brothers, John and Michael. "Flying, of course," Peter announced. Tinker Bell, buzzing furiously with jealousy, showered the children with fairy dust. Peter then taught them the secret. Think of lovely things. Just lovely, wonderful thoughts. Wendy thought of amazing adventures. John imagined grand battles. Michael thought of his favorite toys. Soon the 3 darling children were floating, giggling, up toward the ceiling. Peter took charge, second to the right, and straight on till morning. And just like that, they flew out of the nursery window, over the sleeping city of London, heading towards the stars and the hidden island of Neverland. Chapter 3: The Dangers of the Island. Neverland was an island made up of contradictions. It was small, yet wild and untamed. It was home to the Lost Boys, Curly, Toodles, Nibs, and the twins, fierce red Indians, beautiful but cruel mermaids, and the dreaded pirates. The pirate ship, the Jolly Roger, was captained by Peter Pan's greatest enemy, Captain James Hook. Hook was an elegant but cold man with a gleaming steel hook where his right hand should have been, lost long ago in a battle with Peter. Hook was always followed by a hungry crocodile that had once swallowed the captain's hand, along with an alarm clock whose ticking now constantly warned Hook of its approach. As the darling children arrived, they were immediately met with danger. Tinker Bell, consumed by jealousy, flew ahead and convinced the Lost Boys that Wendy was a dangerous Wendy bird that Peter wanted them to shoot down. They did, but thankfully Wendy's thimble, which Peter had given her as a kiss, saved her life. Peter banished Tinker Bell for her wickedness. Chapter 4: Mother Wendy. Despite the perilous arrival, Wendy quickly settled into her role as the mother of the Lost Boys. She mended their clothes, worried about their manners, and every night she would sit by the fire and tell them stories of her own parents and the love of a family. The lost boys and her brothers adored her. Their days were a constant cycle of adventure, fighting pirates, evading mermaids, and dancing with the Red Indians. Peter Pan was the unquestioned leader, often bragging and showing off, but always coming to their rescue. Chapter 5: Hook's Victory and Peter's Rescue. Captain Hook was consumed with one goal: to defeat Peter Pan. When Peter and the boys rescued the Indian princess Tiger Lily from the pirates, Hook became even more determined. Hook eventually found a dark opportunity. As Wendy and her brothers began to miss their real parents and talk about returning home, Hook captured them all: Wendy, John, Michael, and the lost boys, and took them prisoner aboard the Jolly Roger. Peter Pan, who was not captured because he was asleep, was Hook's final target. Hook snuck into the lost boys' underground home and left a powerful sleeping poison in Peter's medicine cup. Tinker Bell, banished but still loyal, saw the danger. She realized she could not warn Peter in time, so, in a true act of selfless love, she drank the poison herself. As Tinker Bell began to fade, Peter woke up. She managed to tell him that she drank the poison to save him. Peter, seeing his beloved fairy dying, turned to the imaginary children around the world. "If you believe in fairies, clap your hands." Enough clapping hands, or belief, reached Neverland, and Tinker Bell was saved. Chapter 6: The Final Battle and the Return Home. Now wide awake and furiously determined, Peter flew straight to the pirate ship. He challenged Captain Hook to a final duel. The battle on the deck of the Jolly Roger was fierce. Peter, with his endless energy and imagination, fought brilliantly against Hook's cunning. The climax came when Peter cornered Hook. Hook fell into the sea, right into the waiting mouth of the terrifying, ticking crocodile. With the pirates defeated, Peter was the master of the ship. He sailed the Jolly Roger back to London, carrying the darling children and the lost boys. Wendy, John, and Michael returned home to their heartbroken parents, who welcomed them with open arms. They persuaded their parents to adopt the lost boys, filling the nursery with family love. Peter Pan, however, could not stay. He was the boy who would never grow up, never have a mother, and never truly belong. He returned to Neverland with Tinker Bell, promising Wendy that he would come back for her every spring to take her to Neverland for spring cleaning. And so Peter Pan remained a symbol of eternal childhood, flying in the starry night, always looking for a window to peek through, never quite understanding the simple, quiet joy of a mother's love and a cozy home.